Welcome back, everybody. My name is Steve Looney from GraphicDesignerTips.com. In today's Adobe Muse video tutorial, I'm going to be showing you exactly how to make a very professional looking photo gallery for your website design project. Now, it's pretty cool with the photo galleries because there's a lot of presets and they're actually very quick to put up on the site. But right now you're looking at a website that I designed, and this is the photo gallery that is on their page. It is a autoplay gallery. It also has the arrows where I could click and go back and forth, or I can actually click the thumbnail and it'll go to the specific image that I have clicked. It looks very neat. It's very nice transitions and it loads very quickly. I will show you another photo gallery I did. This is on my personal business website. Now, what's cool about this gallery is it uses all the same ways of building the other one I just showed you, but with a couple other subtleties, and I was able to put these web pages, this is my website design page, and I was able to put these web pages superimposing it basically on this laptop right here. So when I show this to somebody, it looks really high-end and amazing, and it is, but the thing is actually very simple to do in Adobe Muse, and that's what this tutorial is going to be all about. Now we are in Adobe Muse CC, and the first thing you want to do is, obviously I have this big empty space and that's where my photo gallery is going to go. You want to come over here, and it's near the bottom right, the widget library, and you want to go near the bottom where you see it says slideshows. If you look in here, you're going to have a couple of options. You're going to have basic, blank, full screen, lightbox, and thumbnails. What's pretty cool about this is if you select one of these and you start to build your photo gallery and you realize, oh, it's not really the one I want, you don't have to trash it and then pull another one over. Say you choose the basic one and then you say, oh, I really want the full screen one. You can actually edit these parameters in each of the settings so you won't have to trash what you did and pull a new one over and start from scratch. Let me explain. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab the slideshow that has thumbnails on it already. And basically, I'm going to show you how what this really breaks up into. Right now, we have the main image right here. We have 3 thumbnails that are automatically generated through Muse. These are the same thumbnails all the time. Obviously, you're going to get rid of them. You have a caption, you have a left, a right arrow, and you have a counter. Okay, so what you could do is, if you notice, if you click this slideshow and you move it, it's going to be all grouped. But once you double click a portion, it's going to be able to be moved. So this is where you can really position everything. Sometimes you might not want thumbnails, but as we go back to this website right here, you can tell there are thumbnails all over the place that we can see. There are photo galleries where you can hide the thumbnails and just have it autoplay if you want. That would be a web banner for like a home page that fades. And I'll get into that in another video tutorial. But in here, again, this is our main image. This is our thumbnails, captions, left, right, and counters. If we come over to this little blue circle right here with the play button on it, you're going to click it, and this is where we have our slideshow options. Now, first, we can add images. Next, it talks about the hero and the thumbnail images. You could see, basically, it's about filling the frame. You can test these out and see what happens. You can change the transition from a fade to a horizontal or a vertical swipe, which is pretty cool. You can change the speed. You can have it autoplay. You can have it change every specific amount of seconds. It really actually lets you get into everything that you're questioning right now. Oh, am I going to be able to do this? Enable a swipe. That's going to be on a, if you roll over, it says enable swipe support for touch-enabled devices, your iPad or tablet. Shuffle, show in random order. Layout, lightbox, full screen, free form thumbnails. Now, if you look, we have the full screen and the lightbox. So that's allowing us to really just add those options in. So like I said, you don't have to come back in here and pull those back over. If you notice in here, if I uncheck previous and next, you're going to notice that those 2 arrows that I had on there disappeared. Anything you uncheck will disappear, even thumbnails. So basically, this right here, it's just an image. That's what this right here is, the basic, or the blank, excuse me. It's either or. I'm not exactly sure. So, all right, let's jump back a second and we'll go back to previous, next, and we'll put the counter on and we'll put our thumbnails back on. I'm going to click off here so my options disappear. Basically, what I want to do is I want to click right here, and I'm going to pull my thumbnails down here. I'm going to have my main image right here, and if I start to move it, you see where that red pops up? That means it's centered on the page, which is what I want. Right below the image, I want to actually grab all three. So we're going to click, we're going to hold shift, and we're going to hold shift for this one, and we're going to move all three of these. And as I get to the middle, that red should come up. It didn't. Actually, the blue comes up indicating it's centered with the actual photo. So we'll leave it just like that. And I did turn the captions off, but what's pretty cool is, say we have our captions on. All right, I just turned them back on. I can move this caption box, say, to the right. And every time a picture comes up, it would have a new caption. So say I do caption 1, and I copy and paste it through here. Okay? And now I click on image number, well, actually, that would be image 3, but we'll do caption 2. And I'll copy that over. And last one, we're going to do caption 3. Put a space there and copy this. If you notice, what happens is, as I go 1, 2, 3, the captions are changing. So that's pretty cool if you want to just, talk about each photo. I don't use captions very often at all. There hasn't been a call or a need for it yet. So I'm going to turn the captions off right now because you know exactly how they work because I just showed you. What we're going to do is we're going to first delete these first 2 pictures because you have to have one that is remaining in here. Let's see. Yeah, because then everything disappears and looks kind of funky. So what you want to do is you want to right click. You can either click the blue button here or same thing over here, and you're going to go to add images, and we're going to click here. And I'm just going to go literally straight on my desktop where I saved extras of this, and I'm going to go into my test sites. I'm going to go into photo gallery, and these are all the photos. I'm going to hit Command A. That's not working. All right, I'm going to click the first one, scroll all the way down, hit Shift, and click the bottom. Shift will allow me to select all this, and now we're going to click Open. Now it's loading 90 files. All right, so now our images are in here, and I can already tell that there needs to be some changes, and that's cool because that's how we're going to learn this right now. Basically, we have our picture right here, and I actually don't like the size of it. It's a little bit small. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the image. Actually, you know what? I'm going to select the image. I'm going to move this whole entire thing down. Now I'm going to click it twice, and now I'm able to just edit this. I'm going to scale it up, and if you hold Shift, it will obviously keep your proportions. That's what you want. I'm going to, again, click the image, and just like before, I'm going to make sure that it lines up, that red line goes right through the middle of it. And I'm going to, again, move these up, and I'm going to just get that a little bit closer to the image. What's cool about this is now that we have all 3 of these selected, we can change the font, we could change the size. So say we change the size up here a little bit. I would have to open that text box up because it shot it to the next line because it is text. But now let's come down here to the images. You can now click the images, and once we get to the middle, we can pull this over and we can really expand the box that these images are going to fit in, the thumbnails. And I'm going to now scroll to the bottom. Just going to pull this up a little bit. It's going to pull my whole website up with it, which is fine. If I would have stretched this box prior when I had those 3 original images, everything would have came in here nicey nice, but I did not do that. So what you can do now, which is pretty cool, is if we click again here, you're going to see on the bottom, Edit Together. If this is checked, whatever you do to one of these thumbnails is going to be applied to all of them. So if I take this thumbnail right here and I hold this and I start to scale it up, you're going to notice everything else is going to scale up. How cool is that? You can hold Shift while you're doing it to keep it in proportion, or you can go down with it, or you can go across with it and have some funky looking thumbnails, something like that. So, but what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to just make them a little bit bigger, a little bit rectangular. It's going to take a second because there's a lot of images here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take that whole entire piece, I'm going to move it over again, and I'm going to center it. And I know it's centered basically because the counter up here is right smack in the middle right there. So those are my thumbnails. And what I'm now going to do is I'm going to very simply, let's see exactly how I did it on the live site. All right, so what I did was I put a gray box around it, kind of like a, an outside of a picture frame, and to make it pop off the background, and I put a white stroke there, and I knocked this out so you can see through that. So we're going to come in here, and we're very simply going to come up here to the rectangle tool. We're going to make a rectangle. We're going to fill that rectangle with a color. We're going to come up here by doing that. We're going to fill it to 50% gray for now. And we're going to go to Object. Let's see. Oh, click off of there for a second. Go to Object, Send to Back. All right. Or let's see if I back up a second. If I Command Z. All right. It's the same. It's Shift Command open bracket, just like in Adobe Illustrator. Pretty cool, right? All right. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take this image right here, and we're going to put a border on it. We're going to put a stroke on it. And we're basically going to come up here to stroke, and we're just going to hit 1. We're going to make sure our stroke color is white. And if you notice, we have a problem going on right here. The problem is that the image is not fitting in there perfectly. It's not fitting in there actually at all. Well, and I'm going to make that stroke a little bit larger. Cool. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to double click in here until the image turns red around, and now you can scale this entire image up. And you're going to have to do that with each of your images that you want to fit perfectly in there. Some will and some won't. Most of them do. This one doesn't. So we're going to, again, double click that so the red comes up. Hold this, let's see, what am I holding right now? Option, so it scales up through the middle. All right, pretty cool, right? What I'm now going to do is I'm going to select 1, 2, 3. I'm going to move these up. I'm coming into our fill right here. I'm going to click the down arrow, and we're going to hit this none right here. And so now that's a none fill. And for the last thing we're going to do on this one is we're going to change the color of this to, let's see, we're going to pull that gray up to a lighter gray so it shows through a little bit more. And what's really cool about this is now that you have this, you can even come in here. You can go into Effects. You can do a drop shadow. So it'll make a nice little shadow on everything. So this is really a nice photo gallery. I mean, think of how long this would have taken you to do using Adobe Dreamweaver, which is a great program I used to use, but Adobe Muse allows us to do this much quicker. So let's jump into doing the other photo gallery I showed you too. Here's the live page again of what it's going to look like. I am going to create a similar gallery. These are going to be the thumbnails right here. I'm going to put rounded corners on them. This time it's a little bit different. And then I'm going to have the main image go in this specific area with the caption of the site below. So we are going to use a caption in this. So let's jump back into Adobe Muse, and I'm going to jump into this page right here. Right now, I am going to come into the same one. Let's do thumbnails. And I'm going to just first come into here, and I'm going to delete these two like I mentioned last time to do. And I'm going to come in here. I'm going to go to Add Images. I'm going to Test Sites, Websites, and let's see. All right. Going to open all these, 19 files. All right, cool. Let's see something real quick. All right, so that one, all right, I got to get that out of there. That one image did disappear of the one that was left in there, which is good. I just was double checking if that did work. So what you want to do first is you want to very simply click again with this so it frees itself up, and we can even zoom in here, same way as in Illustrator, Command and Spacebar, and do a little marquee by clicking your mouse. And we're just going to scale this down a little bit. Now, okay, if I scale it down proportionally, obviously I have this big space. So I'm just going to take this, and you see how it opens it up? It's not stretching anything, which is really cool. right? And then I'll get into redoing this area later on. We're going to now come into our thumbnails. We're going to stretch out the box that the thumbnails can be in. I am going to have the box come up a little bit more because this is the area that I'm allocating towards this. Stretch it out even more. I'm now going to come in here, and if you notice here, my arrows and stuff like that, I want previous, next, and the counter to be off. But I do want to leave captions on because I'm going to come back to that in a second. All right, I'm going to move captions over here for a second. I'm going to come into my stroke, and you can literally just hit this up arrow right here. It's going to put 1 on the stroke. And all right, so this is cool. Let's see what happened here. What did I not do? All right, it is on edit together, so let's figure out what happened here. All right, so I got to click this. All right, so I have this one clicked. Let's hit stroke. Oh, that's going to be in the box. We're going to hit here. All right, for some reason, oh, here we go. Okay, so when it's clicked, all right, that's not what I want. Let's make these larger for right now. Take the thumbnails, and we're going to make these larger. What we now have to do is we need to make a container for these thumbnails. So we're going to click 1, 2, and 3 until we get the thumbnail. And you're going to know that we have the thumbnail because it's going to change the thumbnail. Right? The second click said thumbnail container, so now this says thumbnail. We're going to make sure the state that we're working on is the normal state. And we're going to basically just click this up arrow that's next to stroke over here. We're going to click it up. And we're going to make sure that is gray, which is cool. And this section right over here, we're going to hit up, and this is going to make it a rounded rectangle, or it's going to make each of these corners rounded just by a little bit. I can now make these the size I really want to. I'm going to have it come out a little bit, maybe a little bit higher. That's really about it. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this so far, but if you notice, there's some things we're still not done with. You need to go into each one of these, and if you double click all the way into it, it's going to turn to this point where you can now scale it up, and you can hold Option to scale from the very center point of it, and you can move it to contain it, because this is what people are going to see on this thumbnail. You see how zoomed out this one is? It's terrible. So we're going to come in here. Again, we're going to scale it up and hold Option. It looks a lot better, the composition. So you want people to click on this. Let's see, we're going to scale that up. Same thing. Okay, so I'm not going to go through all these, but you get the idea, because we got about 18 of these right here. Okay, so you want to do the same thing in here, and I think I noticed it with this site before. You see how? Let's see. No, it was this one. See how zoomed out this is? Definitely no good. I don't like it. So you want to now scale it up, and it's showing you basically it's clipped in there. I'm going to scale this down because that's the header of the site. That's what I want to show the most. Cool. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take this caption, and we're not going to do that. We're going to click into the caption. Now we can move it free form, and I'm going to basically have this span. All right, I'm going to take this, while it's selected, I'm going to hit the center, align center with the text, and the text should align in the center. I'm going to change this color, the fill, which is white. I'm going to change that fill to black. And I'm just basically going to now go www.graphicdesignertips.com, even though that's not what that website is not that. And I'm just going to style this as white. And let's see, make my point size a little bit bigger. Cool. Now that I have this in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically just copy this Command C. I'm going to come up in here into my add filter or links, and I'm going to put in www.graphicdesignertips.com. I'm going to hit OK. It's now going to change that into a hyperlink, which is blue on black, and you cannot read it. I want this white on black. So I'm going to hover over all this. I'm going to, again, select the color. Even though it says white, I'm going to do it again, and it'll change to white. And I'm going to hit the underscore button, underline button, excuse me, and it's going to take that underline away. So now we are going to preview this page in a browser and see what happens. All right, so if you notice, if we click on each image, it's going to come up with a different caption on each, which is great. This is what you want, but it's going to take some time to populate this. But if we come into the one thumbnail right here that we change, excuse me, this one right here that we changed, you see how it says Grayhick Designer Tips.com, which is wrong because I misspelt it. We're going to double click that, or we're going to click it, and you're going to notice it goes, well, yes, domain is not found because I misspelt it, but it is linking to these sites. So that is what is going on in that, and that's how you do it. As we click, you see how the nice fading transition, that's because if I come back in here, I had it set to a fade. Where's the fade? Fade right here. Again, you can change other options in here. So that's basically it in a nutshell. I mean, I know this was a little bit of a long video, but now that you know how to do this, you can mess around and experiment. I'm not about putting, 2-minute videos together saying this is how you do it. I like to jump into it. So let me know in the comments below what you learned in this video. I hope you learned something definitely that you can use in your next project because Adobe Muse is definitely a big help to a lot of designers that always had problems with coding. I mean, I had a pretty good knowledge of coding, but it just got out of control where, you can't know everything. So check us out on my social networks. Share us out on Twitter and Facebook and Google+. And I will see you guys for the next Adobe Muse tutorial. Have a great night. Peace.